Welcome to the first annual yearly roundup of Fic. Please ignore that we're 3 months into the year at this point. I did intend for this to be in January, but I've been busy. And I've only just got around to it now. Anyway, I honestly have no idea where I'm doing this other than personal interest in looking back over the year of 2025. Forgive how ugly this setup is. I've spent both entirely too much time on this presentation and not enough effort. It's a little slapped together, but what is any content made by me but slapped together, honestly? Fix. This year, I reached 115 fics on AO3. 76 of them were written this year, with 4 of them being uncompleted. I don't know how I managed that sort of output. It really felt like I hadn't done that much until I looked back over everything. I branched out into making podfic for the first time and managed to publish 36 of them in 2025. Mostly they were of my shorter fics. The accumulation of all those little fics leaves me with 6 hours, 53 minutes, and 58 seconds of podfic to my name in 2025. I wrote 188,516 words in 2025. A stat that's really wild considering that I didn't write anywhere near as much as I normally do in November last year. Turns out that trying to write 50k of words in a month when you are pretty mentally unstable isn't a good idea. Who would have thought? I bailed out halfway through with only 12,000 to my name. But I'm pretty proud that I didn't push myself into burnout the way that I would normally do. Here's to growth. I'm tentatively hoping to beat 188k this year if everything goes to plan. But who knows, since I'm struggling to write at all this year. New antidepressant is making me tired and nauseous all the time, which is why I haven't posted much this year so far. But hopefully once we get titrated properly, it won't be doing that. We can but hope. Left to podfic. There are currently 79 fics that I have left to turn into podfics, without counting fics that I have in mind to write this year, of course. Many of them are longer than the ones that I have made previously, but I'm glad that I started with the smaller ones first because I'm still having trouble with my voice, and talking for extended periods of time can be quite painful. Hopefully, I've built up enough strength and muscle to be able to tackle these bigger projects in 2026. An update to that is that I have been podficking kind of like crazy, and so far, all I have left to do is when sleep um becomes, oh my god, I only refer to it as when sleep in my brain, and I forget what the full title is. When sleep becomes a luxury, because that's not finished yet. Um, in a way that I mean, I have podficked other fics that haven't finished yet, like Nerd Nell vs Harry, but When Sleep has a lot of content warnings, and I want to make sure that I can put the right ones in at the beginning for people once everything's done. And, you know, we like to be safe in this household. We like to keep other people safe too. Got a lot of things done over the past week. There are 2 fics that I am not intending to make into podfics, and they are Unnegotiated, which is a Kinposh podfic, and Whispers in the Dark, which is a very old Harry Potter fanfic that I wrote. I don't want to podfic either of these stories, at least not at this time, but if someone else wanted to, I would not be opposed to them taking them on as a project. Whispers is entirely too personal, too much about my own mental health in 2010 to want to touch it. Plus, I don't want to have to edit and listen to the voice hearing parts said in my own voice. And Unnegotiated, well, recording it would make me feel uncomfortable in a way that writing it didn't. Read it to find out why. I hope that's understandable, and no one's too disappointed by that decision that I made. Total words. I started writing again in 2023 after a really long time of not writing very much either original work or fanfic. I used to be pretty active on a variety of other sites between 2001 and 2013. Anyway, since coming back in 2023, I've written 338,184 words in 17 fandoms for fics that have been published, and I have about 200k of unpublished work that I'm hoping to start posting this year. I know, wow, the backlog is crazy. The longest fic I have right now is called When Sleep Becomes a Luxury, which I brought up earlier, which currently stands at 117,938 words, and it's definitely going to be longer by the end of the year. I hope that I can finish it in 2026. There's not that much of it left, like the story is entered into the last quarter of the plot, which is significantly less complicated to write, and less emotional. Once it's finished, I want to dedicate more time to other projects like Nerd Nell vs. Harry and Consequences, which are both long projects that need a lot of time to complete. Inner Tower High came out as the longest podfic that I've made so far that's posted. I've since eclipsed that in recordings that are going to be published later on in the year. Inner Tower High is 1 hour, 8 minutes long. 1 hour, 8 minutes and 22 seconds to be precise. And I think that I had to record the first part 3 different times because of forgetting how to pronounce Mathross's name and unavoidable background noise, such as my neighbour going out on his motorbike. Stuck is a tiny little fic and a tinier podfic, coming in at 1 minute 37 seconds. It's also one of the oldest works that I have on AO3. Originally, it was posted to fanfiction.net, but I decided to cross post the majority of fics that I have posted there over the past 2 years in an effort to archive them better. The shortest fic that I posted this year is Orcs, a poem about what happens to the spirits of orcs when they die. It's also an old work, cross posted from another platform. All 93 words of it. It's tiny. It's a tiny fic. Top 5 most popular fics. The most viewed fics of 2025 were Nerdnell vs. Harry, a Silmarillion Harry Potter crossover fic about a reincarnated Harry being sent to Valinor as the grandson of Fëanor, where he's being raised by his grandma, Nerdnell. Second is When Sleep Becomes a Luxury, who's been mentioned many times so far, and Omegaverse AU of Love in the Air 2022, where Gunn's attack at Propai's Condor leaves Sky struggling with nightmares and his mental health. Supported by his Pie, Pie's family, and therapy, he slowly finds himself healing from the past. Third, we have Second Chances Are For Everyone. Harry Potter falls through the veil in the Department of Mysteries, only to wake up in the body of a tiny elfling being fought over by a crowd of elves determined to get custody of him. Fourth, we have Outside the Window, the Kinposh AU, where Kim manages to fight off all the thugs attempting to kidnap Shay, and they never end up at the warehouse. And lastly, Alternate Routes is a collection of AUs, extras, and deleted scenes from Ned Nell Harry. Top 5 most popular podfics from 2025. We have Minty Fresh, The Hobbit AU, where Thorin doesn't die because Bilbo stuffed some mint leaves in his mouth. I might not get another chance. Nowhere Neville Longbottom confesses his love for Harry on the battlefield. We have in third, Thoughts of You Leave Me Breathless, where Thorin does die in this Hobbit fic, and Bilbo goes to see his final resting place because there's something he's got to put in there with him. Fourth, we have Lines, an extremely stupid crack fic. It's a collection of the weirdest lines students at Hogwarts have been forced to write as punishment. And fifthly, I didn't know this would be our goodbye. 50% crack, 50% angst. This Silmarillion fic takes place in a cafe in Gondolin, where an annoyed arrestor is trying to finalise the architectural plans for the House of the Golden Flowers' new dance hall, and Glorfindel has committed the sin of being late and bringing Ecthelion with him. No greater sin has ever been committed. Top 5. Is it top 5 least popular? 2025's least popular viewed fics were Ceremony. Every black has been sorted into Slytherin. Sirius is scared that he won't be, yet isn't sure that he wants to follow the family tradition either. Second place, we have Smoke Fog Haze, which is just a story where the last battle goes badly. Hogwarts falls and Voldemort wins. And in third place, we have Navi. Navi experiences an accident whilst working with the temperamental new ally, Ithildin. In fourth place, we have The Vessel, where Maglar refuses to go on a family cruise because he keeps having nightmares that the boat catches fire and one of his brothers dies. Not prophetic at all. And in fifth place, we have I'm Not Giving Up, where Teen Sirius is the last of the Marauders to complete an Animagus transformation, but he's determined to do it for Mooney. Top 5 least popular podfic of 2025 are In and Tower High Chapter 3, In and Tower High Chapter 2, which both make sense because they're part of a multi-chapter fic. In a Tower High, Sam storms the tower to save Mr. Frodo and ends up saving someone else long thought dead along the way. Third, we have Ancient Evil. The dwarves and Ered Luin are trying to make a living in their new home when they make a rather shocking discovery. In fourth place, we have We All Love Bodyguards Part 2, where Vegas is sent on a mission to bribe a corrupt politician called Patep by the Major family, only to walk in on said politician trying to drown his son, Tentai, in an ugly pool. Makes sense too, this is a second part of a multi-chapter fic. And in fifth place, we have When Everything Is Over, a fic where Poche is struggling after the breakup with Kim. Kim won't leave him alone. They're stuck in the same house. Shay might be spiraling and playing the most brain off mobile game to not think about any of this. Top written for fandoms. 1. The Silmarillion. Anyone that has experienced me over the past year would not be surprised that this is the number one fandom I've been in 2025. Honestly, my poor friends have had to put up with me autistically explaining the entire plot of the book to them off of the top of my head multiple times. I can't help it. Silmarillion is my stress response, and there is plenty of meat on the bones to make something with. Second place, we have The Lord of the Rings. I've been writing Lord of the Rings fic since I was 9. It's not a surprise to me. There are so many characters that are fun to write about. And in third place, we have Harry Potter. I know we're not down with Joanna Kathleen, but I take personal joy in using her stuff in a way that I know she wouldn't like. Also, the fandom was a pretty important place for me as a teen when I was very isolated and unwell. Least written for fandoms. Modao Sushu. I love Lan Wangji and Wei Wuxian, but I find them very hard to write. In second place, we have Until We Meet Again. This was the first Thai BL that I ever saw, and I think now and then I like taking my brain back to that moment. And in third place, we have Perfect Marriage Revenge. I love this show, and I needed a plot point from it for a crossover fic. Ships. Looking at the list of them right now, I actually wrote way more ships than I thought I had. We've got Bilbo Thorin, Pete Vegas, Aresta Glorfindel, Sirius Remus, Porsche Kim, Ecthelion Aresta Glorfindel, Ecthelion Glorfindel, Melkor Sauron, Neville Harry, Caillou Rain, Propie Sky, Hermione Victor, and then someone else. The number one most written ship by me in 2025 is Bilbo Thorin. OG, The Hobbit, great fandom. They appear 8 times in fics that I wrote in 2025. Then we have Pete Vegas from Kin Posh. They made 7 appearances and they are it's just so much to write for them. It makes my brain light up. And least written couple ship, we have Tentai T, Mitty from Laws of Attraction, who only appear once, and Lang Wangji Wei from the Untamed / Modalusha, who appear once too. Platonic pairs. We love a platonic pair. We have Fingon Mithras, Frodo and Sam, and Nerdnell and Harry as the most written platonic pairs. I don't write them often, but when I do, I love them very much. Character appearances. Here's an overlook of everyone who's turned up and things that I've wrote in 2025. There's some kind of shockingly omnipresent people. The most common character across all the works that I've posted in 2025 was Bilbo, and the least appearing was Wei Wuxian. Bilbo really does just keep turning up in fics, often where I have no plan for him to be. He just arrives and is like, I'm here. Which we love for him. Tag cloud. Here are the most common tags that I wrote for fics in 2025. I don't think angst being the most commonly used tag surprises anyone. I think I have a pathological need to write angst in fics this point. Uh, my favorite tag of 2025 is vesicular olivine basalt, and it's such a good tag. It's from Ancient Evil, where I needed a cool looking volcanic rock to do a lot of lifting for the plot. This is just regular basalt in this picture. I couldn't find a cool picture of olivine basalt online. So you just have to imagine green basalt with holes in it, unless you have trypophobia, in which do not imagine those. Most fun to write fic goes to potatoes and things that are not potatoes, in which Gandalf is sent on a vague fetch quest by Manwë, with only the knowledge that he needs to go to the Shire to complete it. At least Granny Bracegirdle's garlic potatoes are there to emotionally support him through it. It was so fun to write. I love how obsessed with potatoes I made Gandalf. Runner up of most fun to write goes to I Was Set Up by a Honey Badger, where Vegas is an unappreciated zookeeper charged with keeping the zoos honey badgers from escaping their exhibit, and that's not an easy task, and Kin is going to have a fit if Nina, the escaped honey badger, is after one of his snakes again. Honey badgers are cool, and I think that Vegas would truly vibe with a honey badger. Like, I am most proud of goes to the Shaw's Lonely Ghosts, in which Luna, freshly saved from the dungeons of Malfoy Manor, finds an old ghost on the beach, and maybe they both get the strength they need to go home. I'm a sucker for a lingering Maglaw being found and encouraged to go home, and who better to do that than Luna? I think that I'm most proud of this because I really managed to capture the emotion that I was intending when I first thought of the idea. It's like most true to the original idea of what I wanted the fic to do. Hardest to write, it has to be when sleep becomes a luxury. There really isn't anything that I wrote for in 2025 that can light a candle to how hard this fic it was and continues to be for me to write. It's been so long since I've written anything anywhere near as long as this fic that I genuinely feel like I'm using a muscle that hasn't been exercised and allowed to atrophy. Aside from just how long it is, the topics involved in the story are also really deep and painful, and I've tried to do my best to cover them tastefully and respectfully whilst also making it an interesting read and not freaking myself out by putting too much of my own personal experience into it. Runner up goes to of hardest to write goes to consequences. Consequences. I can't not talk about this fic when talking about things that are hard to write. What do you do when a certain Balrog Slayer has just waltzed into the Hall of Fire after being reborn, like he only popped out 10 minutes ago to powder his nose? Arrester doesn't know. There aren't protocols for that. All he knows is that Glorfindel is handsome. Lindir is going to tease him about this for a century, and he needs to find somewhere in Imladris for him to stay. Things can't get more complicated than that, right? There are consequences to dalliances with a bonded elf. Consequences Arrester, not Elrond. Arrester doesn't wish to feel. I think the last time I updated this fic was in April 2025. But I couldn't juggle having 3 long fics on the go at the same time in the way that I thought I could. I wanted to get back to it once I finish When Sleep this year. There's a lot of decisions in regards to the plot direction I still have to make, and I think that is, in part, one of the biggest things I'm going to have to battle with when I come back to it. Don't really know where we're going. I have a vague direction. I don't know how I'm getting there. The end. And thus ends our little trip through the mess that is all the fanfic I brought last year. I hope that it was interesting for someone other than me. I hope that. And I'll be back with more podfic this year. There are a number of multi-chapter fics that I've been putting off making because of problems that I've had with my voice. So I hope that they go well. I may have recorded them, but I also hope that it sounds alright because I'm getting a pretty bad creak in my voice at the moment. And I sound like this, or I sound like this, and it's a problem. So I hope I can edit the audio so it doesn't sound awful. And isn't that a great hope? Thank you for coming to this little presentation.